What's up, everybody? Renfail here. Time for my final review for Diablo 4's Vessel of Hatred, the first official DLC for the latest entry into the Diablo franchise. Right now, I am sitting in the Den, which is one of the new additions to the game where you can collect mercenaries who are NPCs that level up, and you can bring them with you on your campaign, and you can also, after the campaign, go about completing the rest of them if you didn't get them along the way. There's a lot to the mercenaries system. It's one of the new things that came with the DLC apart from the story. So we're going to talk a little bit about the story, the mercenaries, the seasonal stuff, the new class, which I am playing, the Spiritborn, and sort of my overall take on things. You don't even have to wait to the end if you don't want to. I would give this a solid 7 out of 10. Because it was really good. There are a few weak link chinks in there that, for me personally, I don't view as flaws in the game per se. They're just personal preferences. So when I say 7 out of 10, understand that that is an extremely subjective point of view based upon the things that I like in games, and it is by no means an indicator of this being somehow a lesser product. People have this weird mentality these days where if something's not a 10 out of 10, they don't want to play it, and that's just not true. There have been so many good games that I've played over the years that were 5s and 6s. They were still fun games. They just had things that I didn't like. Maybe they had some jank, maybe they had some bugs, but they were still fun experiences overall. So 7 out of 10 for me is a pretty strong score. But how do I get there? What are some of the things you need to know? So let me get away from this menu really quick and pull this out here over out of the way. So first and foremost is the fact that the story in this is very short. I knew going into this that it was going to be short. We did a 7.5 hour marathon stream the day that this went live, and that got us all the way through the main story. I knew going into it that it was short. And I think the IGN review I had read before I started playing said it was about 6 hours. It took me 7.5, but about 30 minutes of that stream was lunch, chatting, bios, and everything else. So I figure it was probably about a 7-hour playthrough from start to finish. And I didn't really do any side quests from start to finish other than the Spiritborn class, which I think you got at like level 20 or something. I forget what level you get the class quests in this game. But I did really enjoy the Spiritborn class. I went with the Centipede for everything. My class selections here were Centipede because of this stuff right here, because you get the heals and the life taps and everything else. But then going into the actual skill tree and all the things that were coming through here, Touch of Death's Infection heals you for 2% of your maximum life per second for a total of 18% maximum life. Things like that, which allowed me to continually be doing life taps and self heals, which was an absolute boon to being able to consistently keep myself at full health going throughout this. I didn't really have to use potions at all throughout this whole playthrough, and I did play on normal mode, so I wasn't trying to do anything super difficult. I usually save the nightmare difficulty for later on after I finish the main campaign, or at least that's the way I did it when the game first came out. I played 2 characters through the story, then I went into nightmare mode and did the world quests at the higher difficulty. So I just did the story for the first run, played it all the way through, got my Centipede stuff all the way leveled up. Ended up at level 46, I believe. I forget where it shows you what level you are. I don't remember. Anyway, had a lot of fun. As with any DLC these days, I know people will poke fun at things and say, oh, 6 hours is way too short, and I just don't think that that's necessarily true. When you look at the totality of what's offered here in the DLC, there's probably between, I would argue, 15 and 25 hours worth of base content, depending on the difficulty level that you're playing on, which is par for the course for pretty much any DLC that comes out these days. You're looking at between 15 and 25 hours of content between main story, side story. I've heard some people talking about 25 to 30 hours if you're playing it on harder difficulties to go through all the side content, all the side dungeons, and all that stuff, which I admittedly did not do because I don't really like the grind in this game. I'm probably one of the few people who plays Diablo like this, but I have always principally been interested in the Diablo series for the story. I think that one of the things Blizzard does exceptionally well with Diablo is cinematic cutscenes, the voiceover talent, the visual effects, and the sound design with the music. And all of that is top notch. So if I could give a separate rating just to the story alone, I would say all of that comes together for a solid 10 out of 10 for me, and just sheer cinematic storytelling, narrative experience, which I absolutely thrive on. It's AAA all the way, and I really enjoyed it. Is the story as good as the base game? I mean, this is kind of a continuation of the base game, so I think I much preferred the base game's storyline, but it's obviously meant to be far more epic, so this is just a continuation of that with one of the characters that you go throughout the first game with. And I mean, the storyline with Lilith is over, and this is essentially all about, and this should come as no surprise, this is a review, so spoiler territory here. The end of this, of course, is Mephisto taking on a new shape and becoming, and then that shape that he takes on is the vessel for hatred, because it's his vessel and he's the hatred. And the next DLC is going to be him walking the bounds of this realm in human form, wreaking havoc. So it's going to be crazy to see how that pans out. So definitely a cliffhanger ending on the storyline. That was cool. The new area that we got was really cool. I feel like it was very heavily influenced by the Mayan culture and architecture. We definitely have the throwbacks to like the jaguar and all the animal types for the Spiritborn, but also the way they dress, the looks of the pyramids, the look of the swamps, and everything else. So really, as far as Diablo goes, as far as Diablo 4 goes, this is Blizzard hitting on all fronts as far as like the cinematics and the visuals and all the things that make this game look and feel like Diablo. Where it loses me a little bit is I'm not a huge fan of the grind, and the seasonal grind is just the same as it's always been. I did not enjoy the grind in Season 1, which is why I didn't continue the season. I never played past Season 1 because it's not for me. And there's nothing here that's going to inspire me to want to keep playing the season beyond this point. The only thing I still have left is to gather up the rest of the mercenaries and then complete there's one more quest I have right now, which is like the deed quest, which is to get all the mercenaries and then go forth from there and complete one of the dungeons. And then I've pretty much wrapped up all of the quests. I've finished the main quest, and this is essentially side quest. I went through the game with Rahir. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload, or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. I didn't worry about anybody else. I just took him all the way through as my mercenary. So one of the cool things about mercenaries is that there's a couple of things you're paying attention to here. One is their skills, and the second is their rapport. So the rapport is essentially it's their experience bar, and as you earn rapport, the first 4 levels you're going to get skill points for them, and then after that you start getting rewards. And those skill points can be put over here. There are only a limited amount of skill points that you get, and you have to choose where you're going to put them. You get 4. So I chose to make him a tanky, taunty guy who pulled all the aggro and allowed me to just reliably sit back and do lots and lots of DPS. Again, I barely had to drink any potions in this playthrough because in between him tanking and me using my centipede abilities, I really never needed to worry about healing, at least not on normal mode. Now that we've leveled past the main storyline, the rapport is used to earn these coins, which can then be turned into, I forget where is it this lady? Yeah, you can buy things for these coins. So there's like these RNG items that you can buy for coins, and you earn those by just going out and leveling with the different mercenaries. There are different classes of mercenaries. So like, this is the Berserker Crone that we unlocked, and I could choose to hire her. And then you're gonna come in here and you're gonna notice that she has nothing. She has 1 rank and 1 skill, and I would be able to choose where to put it, and then I would need to go forth from here and level up with her, and then when I'm done, you know, she will end up looking like this guy right here, where everything is leveled up, and he's at rank 5 for his report. So this was all cool. Everything else is pretty much the same. So if you played the base game and you like the base game, you're going to like the DLC. It's more of the same. It's more Diablo 4. It's an extremely polished ARPG, and if you like that kind of stuff, great. I'm not a huge ARPG fan. This is pretty much the only ARPG I will play, outside of occasionally dipping into Path of Exile. I don't really play a lot of ARPGs like this. They have to have a really good story. Was it Lost Epoch? That one was pretty fun. That was one I tried, and I was like, ooh, that was actually pretty good. This is good. Like I said, good overall. But the things that take away from me is I don't like the repetitive aspect of like grinding out the season and just doing repetitive stuff over and over and over and over. So that kind of takes it away from me. The overall shortness is not a big deal. I obviously would love there to be more. The one thing about the storyline, even though I did say earlier 10 out of 10 on the story, we're talking overall cinematics, narration, voiceovers, all that stuff are going into that. But the storyline itself is kind of tropey. Doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it, but it is a factor that brings the overall score down, if that makes sense to everybody. But again, this is a subjective thing, because there are some aspects of the story, like you get towards the end and, you know, somebody ends up betraying you and you're like, oh, saw that coming. Like, it didn't feel very impactful. And this was right towards the end of the main campaign for this DLC. When that happened, I was like, I knew that was going to happen. Like, it wasn't that, you know, wasn't that of a surprise. But overall, a good DLC. The mercenaries themselves have really interesting stories, and this is something you can do either on your way through the main campaign, or when you finish up the main campaign, you can go back and do it, which is what I've been doing. And they each have, I don't know if it's going to be the same for each mercenary, but it took me a couple hours to unlock the first mercenary, of going through and just doing the quests for everything. I did enjoy her storyline enough that I'm looking forward to getting the rest of the mercenaries, but it's not something where I feel like compelled to do that on stream or anything else. We're pretty much done with this game, and I'm moving on to other things. I'm going to keep this installed and probably, you know, drop in over the next week or so in my spare time just to get the last of the mercenaries and have them completely unlocked, so that I can be ready for whatever comes next for the next DLC. Because I will, of course, continue to play Diablo 4 as they drop new stories from time to time, even if I might not play the seasons in between. So, solid entry, 7 out of 10. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Daily streams here and on Twitch at 9 a.m. Mountain. I play a lot of games. We have a jam-packed winter and fall for 2024 and 2025, so hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Don't get bit. Don't get it. There's a lot of demons out there, everybody. Happy gaming.